Man, so for those that don't know, like I just kind of peeped your account again like yesterday, and I mean you're sitting at like welcome to USAFBL Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be talking with Nick Diemer. Nick is also known as Nick Diemer on Instagram. Nick, thanks for coming on the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. You've been a rising viral sensation in the fingerboarding industry, nonetheless. For people that don't quite know who you are, you make short edits and people are absolutely loving this. And so I'm stoked to have you on the show and get to know you. And we actually got to share a very huge weekend. We got to share rendezvous and fingerboarding cons. So we're going to get into that as well. And then before we kind of get into things, we've got King of the Plies coming to an end. So you got till May 3rd to catch the top nine just awesome fingerboarding edits. For those that don't know, King of the Plies is our fingerboarding version of Thrasher's King of the Road. So definitely check that out. Links are going to be in the description. Vote for your favorite team or your favorite edit by either liking, commenting, and viewing that video. Let's get into it, Nick. How you been?
I'm doing really well.
So where are you out of? Like where are you located out of?
I'm from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. It's a small town.
Okay. So you're a small town kid. I kind of feel that as well. I lived in Branson, Missouri, which is it's a touristy town, but still a small town at heart. Like
Yeah.
so, I mean, what's the largest city I guess would be close to that town?
I would say probably Philadelphia.
Philly? How far is Philly?
About 3 hours.
3 hours, not too bad. Okay. Just trying to get a picture exactly where that is on the map. So, all right. So, are you a skateboarder first or a fingerboarder first?
Um, I started skateboarding. Then my dad got me into fingerboarding.
So your dad got you into fingerboarding. I know that a couple people mentioned in the post and stuff about us doing a podcast that your dad was a skate dad. So kind of tell us the history behind that, because apparently he's pretty well known. I'm a little ignorant as far as like, the older skate generation and stuff, especially like in local regions and stuff like that. So kind of explain like, the whole skate dad scenario. Like how did like is he a skateboarder like all his life? Is he super famous? Like what's the story there?
He told me that he started to skateboard when he was like 12. He said that his first skateboard was like one from Walmart. Uh, he said that he didn't get his first actual skateboard until he was probably like 13. He got me into it. He's been doing it for a really long time. He still uh does it. We like to go ride around.
Gotcha. Man, so that's pretty cool to have, a dad that's got that skating culture and kind of gotten you into this and you look like you truly enjoyed as well. So you got that awesome just father-son bonding time for sure.
Yeah.
Because I met him at the fingerboarding con, an awesome dude, and just chill vibes. Like I'm jealous of that relationship for sure. So, but yeah, that's wild. Okay, so when did you start fingerboarding?
I started fingerboarding when I was 2. My dad had a whole uh dresser of the old tech decks, and he throughout the years he gave me all of his old ramps and all the old uh tech decks that he had.
Okay, so fingerboarding is like ingrained into you. Like you're probably fingerboarding before you could walk. That's wild. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the short form edits. Let's talk about, I mean, did you start off with the short form edits or is it something that you just kind of like stumbled into?
I got into it as I started to take fingerboarding more seriously. I recorded them on my phone, and then I would edit them on CapCut. And then once my first like actual viral video went off, I started to get better at the editing. I
Okay.
got more into it.
So, do you remember like the very first like viral edit that just kind of just took off?
Um, it was one at Shoe Carnival that I made. I did a right hook shot. It was a right hook basketball shot. Then I walked over. I did a kickflip to a board slide.
Okay. Was this on Instagram or was it on TikTok or
It was on Instagram and TikTok.
gotcha. Man, so for those that don't know, like I just kind of peeped your account again like yesterday, and I mean you're sitting at like, 20,000 followers on Instagram, which is absolutely insane. And you're on the younger side too. Like I think you told me you're what, like 16? I mean, for a 16-year-old with an account that's growing like rapidly fast like that, I mean, this is some pretty cool Instagram clout for sure. Like I didn't have Instagram when I was in high school and stuff like that, but I mean, if I did and I was creeping up on, five, getting ready to hit six figures, like I'd be stoked. So what are people like saying as far as like at school? Like, are you kind of cool at school, or are you still kind of like me? I kind of floated a little bit. I was a jock, but I kind of floated.
I get recognized at school by some teachers, by some kids. The other day I was at lunch and a kid walked up to me. He said, "Yo, I saw you on TikTok. Can we take a picture?" I was like, "Yeah, sure."
That's cool. That's cool to get the hype from all your peers and stuff. I think that's the for me at least, like I know that like just getting that praise and stuff from your peers, people that you like love and respect the most, that's huge. It makes you feel good for sure.
Yeah,
So I know that you've been doing like some crazy collabs. Like I know you've got a little collab with like Fingerboard Christopher. I think you did like a mini podcast edit with him. Of course, you're on the USFBL Fingerboard podcast, and I know
yeah.
Sausage Ramps, and you guys are also doing like some edits and stuff as well. So like you're kind of collabing with a lot of big time industry guys too.
Thank you, bro.
So let's talk about your fingerboarding setup. Like what's your go-to?
I like dynamic trucks, slush colt decks. I I was always a really huge uh, fan of their graphics. I have this one that I got. My favorite wheels has to be Maples.
Okay. Out in Canada, I think Toronto area. Met him at the six skate stop last year.
Yeah,
Cool dude. He was at the fingerboarding con as well.
yeah. I met him. Yeah, he was a really cool guy.
Yeah. So are you a sponsored rider? Someone picks you up on their team yet?
Yeah, I'm sponsored by Slush Cult. I'm actually the first ever uh pro on their team.
Okay, so you're a Sludge Cult team rider. That's awesome. I see the gear and stuff in the back, so I see you repping them strong. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome. So, like, did you reach out to Slush Cult or did Slush Cult reach out to you?
They so at Fingerboard Con, I was there sitting down and I was reading a magazine and FB Christopher he called me over and said that he wanted to make a video for TikTok and they had me do a kickflip over a banana and then hit the eyebrow and I did it first try and they had me read the banana and it said Nick is pro for Flush Cult.
And I was actually there. I tried to record the entire thing, but realized that I didn't hit the record like halfway through. And so I only
Oh
caught
wow.
like the second half of it, a pretty iconic moment. And so I wasn't sure if you were sponsored by anybody else, but I saw you basically kind of get inaugurated into Slush Cult right there at Fingerboard and Con in front of everybody. It was a pretty crazy moment.
Yeah, it was a dream come true.
Especially, I mean, you had a whole room full of just fingerboard going, fingerboard con, just attendees and stuff, and just, I mean, the energy in that room was definitely on point for sure. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it was.
recap that. I'm gonna definitely try to find that and then definitely get that into the edit for sure. But yeah, it was such a great weekend. So our first interactions, was that Fingerboard Con weekend or was it at the like one of the USFBL fingerboarding tour stops?
Um, so well, like, I didn't actually like meet you there, but it was last year at the USA Fingerboard League in in uh in Philadelphia.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, I wish you would have came up and said, "Hey," because I knew you
Yeah,
kind of looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. Like I travel a lot, like with the tour, and I go to
yeah,
events, and so I see like a lot of faces, and so for me, it's like I remember faces, but I don't remember sometimes where I like met people. Fingerboard Con weekend, people are like, "Hey, you remember me?" And I was like, which tour stop?" And they'll be like, "Oh, it was the Phoenix, Arizona one." And I was like, "Oh, snaps, you're and then he tells me your handle, and I'm like, "Okay, cool, cool." And so like, we're 30 something stops deep, and so like, across North America, and so it's like I'll meet people for the day, and then like I may not see them again for like a whole another year until we do it the following summer. So it's interesting for sure, but the tour, man, like absolutely amazing. We've got the sanctioned events happening this year, so check out our website. We've got dates. We've got 22, getting ready to lock in 23 events for the summer. So definitely see if there is a event happening near you guys, so for you listeners. And we're excited. We're excited to expand into new markets, new regions, and just basically just growing the competitive fingerboarding sphere as a whole. So stoked where this is going and stoked where this is going to be for 2025. So, man, all right. So let's talk about Fingerboarding Con and Rendezvous weekend. Friday, which is where most of us kind of started off, was we all pretty much were staying at the Hilton Hotel, basically out in, I don't even want to pronounce that city. Can you pronounce it?
no,
Yeah, I don't want to butcher it. Anyways, everybody knows what city it is out there close to Andover and at the Hilton Garden. And so most of the people that were attending the Comic-Con were staying at the Hilton. And so we had, not when I say we, like I was included, but like they had fingerboarding parks and stuff in the hotel lobby. There was a hotel bar and all that stuff. So there was food and there was beverage and drinks, and we're all just kind of like hanging out and fingerboarding and catching up and just like just chilling. Like the vibe was really good. And I mean, at one point, I want to say there was like 150 people in this hotel lobby, fingerboarding and eating and drinking and watching the game and stuff. Like absolutely magical.
yeah, it was really cool.
So for me, this was like my actual favorite part of the entire weekend was that Friday night. And it had nothing to do with the actual like weekend itself. Everybody was flying in, driving in, staying at the hotel. We're all seeing everybody for the first time in a very long time. And like the
Yeah,
energy, the connections, the laughter, like it was such a great time. And then we've got Rendezvous, I want to say 35 the following
yeah, I think
day,
so.
Saturday morning. Is that your first Rendezvous?
Yes,
So first Rendezvous. So tell us your experience as a first timer for at Rendezvous.
it was really like loud. I liked it. Uh, there's definitely a lot of people there. Like it's like when you first walk in, it's a fingerboarder's dream to be in that warehouse.
Yeah, this warehouse is massive. Like I don't know the square footage, but it's like, I don't know, like 6,000 square feet. And it has like, I want to say close to like 40 parks in there now. Like it is like
Yeah,
packed
it's
to the brim. So Lots of fingerboarding going on, lots of people just reconnecting. I mean, it's kind of like the Grammys for fingerboarding, I feel like, because everybody is there. You know, obviously Mike Snyder's there. You had Loft, you got Good Vibes, USAFBL, Dynamics was there, Maple Wheels. I mean, the list like just goes like on and on and on and on as far as like who all showed up, who's all out there, stuff like that. And so
Hmm.
meeting everybody in one place is absolutely crazy. It's the only event basically in North America that I feel like where everybody comes into one centralized spot and they all kind of like converse. For me, like I have to literally go on tour in order to meet all the people that we normally would meet on that like event. So like Maple Wheels was there. Like I'd have to go to Toronto, do a stop in, in Toronto with Six Gates and stuff in order
Yeah.
to meet him. I have to go to like Dallas to go meet up with like, Gone and Good Vibes and Ryan and Ryan Reeves and all those guys. And so like I've got to like literally kind of go from place to place to place to place to meet all those people. But here, like everybody comes in and I can meet them all in one place. It's pretty cool. Rendezvous being your first, this year's rendezvous being your first rendezvous, like any key takeaways?
My favorite part was, well, it was like Friday night, like you said, when everyone was walking in, when they're arriving there. That night was when the whole Slush Cult team got there. They welcomed me. We took pictures. They hugged me. It was really nice.
Oh, that happened at the after party that Saturday, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So after Rendezvous, they had an after party, and that was a pretty cool vibe as well. They had a lot of the parks and stuff from Rendezvous, like Mike Snyder's warehouse there. All the Black River parks were there. The Black River team was also out there, full
hmm
effect. We got to meet Tobias and Ollie and Denise and man, the other guy was his name Cassius, I think. Oh man, he's gonna
yeah.
kill me. I think his name's Cassius. I'm drawing a blank,
I
but
think
yeah, the guy from England or anyways, I'm drawing a blank there, but there was definitely another Black River team member there for sure. And
yeah,
then we got to see the new Loft Park as well. So for those that weren't there, Loft put together a park and pretty much like last minute too, like absolutely gorgeous, like marble park. It's a huge like I don't know, 6 footer, 7 footer. I mean, it's a big boy for sure.
yeah. It was really cool. I filmed probably like three edits on that park. I loved it.
I actually didn't get a chance to really skate it that much. It was so heavily sought after, and everybody was kind of like on rotation with it. But I did end up getting a
Yeah.
couple clips, but it's got a lot of energy. It's that marble, that pop that you get from your fingerboard whenever you're like, popping off of marble or granite or anything like that. Like the amount of
hmm
energy and just it flows and feels so good. All right, let's talk about the fingerboarding con. So this happened on Sunday, and this was my first fingerboarding con as well. So I'm assuming it's also yours. So
Yes.
tell us about your experience and stuff with fingerboarding con, how that was all put together.
I loved it. Um, it was really cool. I got to meet a lot of new people and a lot of people that watch my videos. A lot of cool stuff that was like sold out online. My sister Keisha, she got into fingerboarding there. She got two completes and yeah,
No, I was gonna say there was a lot of vendors. I actually put together a small list. They had 16 vendors total. They
oh
had
wow.
Crate Doctor, Fatty's Pre-Roll, Vag FB, Decent Bit, Lucy's, Flock Decks, Zeg Heads, Devise, Loft, Yuck, Worm, ABC Parks, Slush Cult, Black River, Six Gates, and Flatface. Vendors on top of vendors on top of vendors. There was so much stuff that you could pick up and buy on hand in person.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It's kind of like whenever I say like you can't go to Walmart and pick that stuff up, but you can definitely go to Fingerboard Con and go pretty much pick up whatever you wanted at that point. So
Yeah, it was like a flea market, but for fingerboarders.
yeah, it was man, you could pick up pretty much anything from rails to Black River stuff to a loft, balcony, ledge. I mean, like there's just so much stuff that was there. And it's one of those like, if you got a credit card, you gotta leave that at home. You max it out real quick, real easy out there. My favorite takeaways from the fingerboarding con was the panels. So the panels, which I don't think were very well attended, I think everybody was so busy like fingerboarding that they didn't really notice all of the panels and stuff that were happening, but there was some really high value panels happening at the fingerboarding con. So panel number one was with Chris Daniels. He did the history of fingerboarding, and
Hmm.
he absolutely killed that panel. And I don't think honestly that there's anybody that is more qualified to host that panel probably than Chris Daniels. And he went in, I don't know how long it was. It was good, like, 30 minutes or so, I would say. But like he literally broke down like the foundation of like, the history of fingerboarding from start, kind of getting it to where it is presently. We did a huge Q&A at the end. A lot of good questions and stuff like that were asked, and Chris Daniel answered all of those like down to the T. But the really cool thing about his panel was is that he had like an original Zorlock fingerboard from like 1992, like before Tech Deck, basically, like in the original packaging. And so to have that, to be able to see it and feel it and touch it and just like be able to look at that history was pretty cool. And he also had
Yeah,
like
really cool.
two of those fingerboarding magazines called the Fingerboarder magazine. And
Yeah,
I've seen those floating around on Instagram. Like people had pictures of it and stuff, but I actually never got to touch it, feel it, flip through the pages. That magazine is like the most legitimate fingerboarding magazine I have ever seen in my entire life. It looked like a Thrasher magazine. Like it had like just stories and interviews and all kinds of stuff, full color, like 60 pages deep, like very well put together fingerboarding magazine. And I was like, man, like someone needs to put together a fingerboarding magazine like this.
yeah.
I don't know if you got to sit on that and got to see any of that stuff as well.
Well, I was actually reading one of the magazines when FB Christopher when he called me up there to make the TikTok.
Oh, gotcha. And then the second panel was how to get sponsored by Black River. And this panel hit real close to home for a lot of people because Black River, in my opinion, has the largest and the most like amazing team rider sponsor dynamic, I think, in our industry by far. And so, I mean, being sponsored by Black River is pretty much like the most ultimate goal for a lot of fingerboarders. And so for Black River, their whole like, Denise was up there. I think Ollie was also up there. Tobias was up there as well. And basically
Yeah,
talking about how they do the process of basically getting people as a team rider. And so the main takeaway from this panel for me was that they operate kind of like an MC, like a motorcycle club. And so basically you have to in the motorcycle world, like if you want to be part of a club, I don't, I'll just throw out some names. Like if you want to be like a Galloping Goose or like a Hell's Angel or any of those other like crazy motorcycle clubs, like you got to be what they call a prospect, which is basically a team rider who's not a rider. They're basically going through all the notions, the grunt work of basically trying to become an official team rider. And so they operate kind of like that, where
yeah,
basically you got to be kind of like a prospect for. They didn't tell me like how long, but basically like it could be a year, it could be a couple years, where you're like basically doing everything a team rider would do, but you're not officially onto the team until they basically feel like, you have great chemistry, you fit in with their brand, like like you're basically everybody's like on the same page, all the goals, all the marketing, everything is like aligned. And so I see like at least for us here in the United States, like, we've got companies looking for writers and stuff like that, and then they'll vet them a little bit, but they don't vet them on a scale like that Black River does. And I thought that was very interesting to see how they did the process versus how we basically have been doing the process. And I feel like there's definitely a huge gap there. And so there was a lot of cool knowledge, a lot of great questions and stuff like that being asked there for sure. Did you actually sit in on that one as well?
I was actually upstairs in my room.
It's a long day. It's a long, long day for sure. You got lucky you're at the hotel and all that, so you can always go grab a quick bite to eat and all that other stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right. And so the third panel, panel three, is is fingerboarding a sport? And so I had to sit down on that one. Yeah, they actually had
What?
a panel three talking about, is fingerboarding a sport? And so for me, this was a very eye-opening panel because I'm literally sitting in a room with all my peers. United States Fingerboarding League is basically working on making fingerboarding a competitive sport. And so for me to sit in and listen to everybody's thoughts, opinions on, should fingerboarding be a sport? Is fingerboarding capable of being a sport? Just the general opinions of, should that be made into a sport versus keeping it on a hobby artist type level and stuff was very interesting, very eye-opening and stuff for sure. And so for me to be able to sit down there, listen to people's opinions, ask some questions and stuff like that as well, and just basically getting people's thoughts and opinions as to how we push it into the competitive fingerboarding sphere. That was a very, very close to home, very good panel for sure. And then of course, that pretty much kind of wrapped up the last of the fingerboarding con. We got, probably a good hour or so fingerboarding stuff like that after the panels and whatnot. I think they actually extended the hours to the con as well. I think it was supposed to get done at 4. I think we are able to still fingerboard for another hour or so after, so like around 5 or whatnot. And so it was a very awesome weekend. Definitely one of the largest fingerboarding weekends in history. The energy for the rendezvous, the after party, the fingerboarding con, like definitely history in the making for sure.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was the best weekend that I ever had. Hands hands down. It was
I agree. I don't think I've had that much fun fingerboarding for that long. Like I've been to events that were like, very, very fun. My events are very, very fun, but we haven't had a 2-day back-to-back full itinerary with nothing but fingerboarding. And this was definitely one of the best fingerboarding weekends of my life as well. So hands down, like top tier, Six Gates, Black River, and Flatface came in and clutch. Slush Cold, I think, as well was part of that as well. So they were,
yeah, it was really cool.
yeah, they put together a banger of a weekend for sure. And then after the fingerboarding con, I'm assuming that you drove back home, right?
We left on Monday, 10 o'clock. Yeah, it was about a 6 hour drive.
Gotcha. Yeah, I left Monday as well. I actually ended up missing my flight. And this would be a great time to do the Listen to Win contest. All right, so we've got LIT, Lost in Transition. They are giving away a 36 by 98 medium kick deck. And Nick Diemer here has put together the challenge. So Nick is talking about you're going to need to do a kickflip over food with the eyebrow in a Nick Deemer style edit. So this is not going to be who did it first. This is going to be who does it the best. So we're looking for the best quality short
Yes.
edit of someone doing a kickflip over food with the eyebrow. And if you can't do the eyebrow because I can't do the eyebrow, put some style into the facial expression for sure. You know what we're talking about. So you're
Yeah.
gonna need to put together this short form edit, and you're gonna need to tag Nick Deemer, USAFBL, and USFBL underscore FBP. So not who did it first, but who does it the best. All right, Nick, you have any hobbies that, people may not know besides fingerboarding?
I like to do. I like to paint a lot. Um, I like to make my own stickers. I like to shoot guns. I like to scooter. I really like to pool a lot.
Okay.
I take that really seriously.
I used to play a lot of pool back in my early 20s and stuff. I think that was more the kind of like bar scene type stuff. I was really, really good at
Yeah.
pool at a younger age and stuff for sure. And then I actually just got into guns as well. You're early to the
Nice.
party, but I'm a little late to the party. So my brother-in-law, he's started collecting guns and stuff, and so we just started shooting guns from time to time, basically here in the last year. So looking to definitely getting into more into the gun game for sure. Pretty
Yeah.
cool that you're already into it and stuff like that for sure. I think that's a valuable skill. And then you got my favorite part of the interview, which is questions from the internet. So we go
Yeah.
on the internet, we go on Instagram and Facebook, we put a post out basically saying, hey, we've got Nick on the mic this week. Tell us your questions. And the internet did not disappoint. You got some fans. You got a
Okay.
lot of questions come in. I don't know if we have enough time to go through all of them, but we're gonna knock out as many as we can. All right, so question number one. Who was the first fingerboarding page you started following?
Oh wow. I think it was FB Christopher because I saw one of his Dollar Tree videos and I thought that was really cool, especially for people who like to fingerboard but they don't have a lot of money.
I
Yeah.
like his Dollar Tree hack videos too. He's cracked the code as far as like fingerboarding on a
Yeah.
budget. All right, question number two. Where do you see yourself in fingerboarding 5 years from now?
I'm hoping to get more followers. I want to make people happy. I'm hoping that fingerboarding can be my job, and I want to stick with it, hopefully forever.
That's a solid 5 year plan. I feel the same way. That's kind of where I'm at as well. Like if I could fingerboard full time and do this for a living, that would be the ultimate dream for me as well. All
Yeah,
right, next question. How often do you pick up your fingerboard on average per week?
I at least do my fingerboarding at least like 20 minutes a day. I go live here and there a week. I make like 2 videos per day. I at least try to make one a day. At school, I practice it at lunch.
Okay. You're that's a real content creator schedule right there. You're talking about daily
Yeah,
content, so I respect that. That's not easy. All right, next question. Best food you have done a trick over?
it was probably a smash burger from a restaurant where I live. It's called Big Times. They have really good pizza. Uh, they have really good wings there. Their company logo, it's a pizza pizza riding a skateboard, and I think that's really cool. The owner, she loves my videos.
Okay, okay. All right, next question. Wawa or Sheets? I was gonna say, so before the tour, I wouldn't even have known what a Sheets is. And if I wouldn't have been up to like rendezvous, this is my second rendezvous, so I know what Wawa is because I've seen the gas stations now, basically
Yeah,
out of Boston. So these are two gas stations. So Wawa is basically an East Coast thing, Northeast, I guess you would say, and then Sheets, which I've seen that in the Midwest, and I feel like Sheetz is definitely the better gas station. It's got a better kitchen. They're pumping out like crazy, like
Yeah,
a whole menu, restaurant menu basically.
yeah, it's really
But
cool.
the real question is it Sheetz or Bucky's? And I gotta go, Bucky's being top tier. I call it Boosie's.
I have never been to one. I heard that it's really cool. I heard that they have like really good fried chicken and I heard that they have really good uh brisket and yeah, I want to go to one. I think it'd be really cool to film a tiny fingerboard
Uh,
edit.
you would kill it with the fingerboard edits and Boosie's. So
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Boosie's is literally like the largest gas stations, I feel like, in North America. They got like 100 pumps, like literally 100 pumps. And the store is like the size of a Walmart. Like it's like if a gas station, if Sheetz and Walmart Supercenter had a baby, it would be Boosie's. The food there at Boosie's is top tier. They have the best brisket.
The best sandwiches. They've got burritos that are they
5 hours later.
Everything in there like slaps. So they make their own jerky, candies. They got a coffee bar. They got a slushy bar, like 15, 20 slushy machines. Like, all right, last question. Who's your inspiration in fingerboarding?
I really look up to FB Christopher and Jake FB. I like them. I've been watching them for a while now. They definitely inspire me, and it was really cool that I got to meet them.
They're definitely two cool guys. I've known Fingerboard Christopher for quite some time. I've did a podcast episode and stuff like that with him. And I want to say I've met him on the West Coast as well in my travels. And
That's
Jake,
cool.
Jake is new. I got to meet Jake for the first time over Rendezvous Fingerboard Con weekend. He's a cool cat.
Yeah, he is.
And so with this, is there anyone you want to recognize or give a shout out to? I'm sure you got a long list.
I want to give a shout out to Slush Colt. Thank you guys for having me on the team. It's a dream, and I want to say thank you. It definitely changed my life.
I know you definitely want to give a shout out to the fam and the parents and all that other good stuff as well.
Yeah, my dad, thank you. My mom, you guys helped me in fingerboarding for a long time. They always encouraged me. They went with it. I want to shout out my sister Keisha. She helps me record some of my videos, and she helps me a lot. And yeah.
Okay. All right, Nick, where can people find you on the internet? Like what platforms?
You guys can find me on TikTok at Nick Diemer Fingerboard. You can find me on Instagram. It's Nick Diemer's son.
All right, I'm gonna make it easy for everyone. I'm gonna have those links in the description for you. Nick, it's
Thank
been
you.
a absolute pleasure and thanks for coming on to the show.
Thank you, dude. It was awesome.
No worries. Till next time.
Peace.